Hello and welcome to my show, Could You Be More Specific? I'm your host, Jonathan Steele, coming to you by the way of the Stay Woke podcast. And on this episode of Could You Be More Specific, I want to title it Rise Above It. And I want to talk about, the unfortunate passing of Aretha Franklin this past week. And I also want to touch on Nicki Minaj and just some of the things that have been going on with her album release and some of the issues that's been revolving around her. But I want to get started on Aretha. And obviously, it was very, unfortunate. I know we've been hearing in the news, especially over the years. I know health has been very challenging for her over these last couple of years. So I know initially, I think for a lot of people, when they heard that she was really, really ill at the time, did seem like, things weren't looking too good. But, people were still hopeful that, she'll be able to pull through. So when she unfortunately passed away, I think, a lot of us were collectively, really sad about it just because she's much bigger than just, I know they call her the Queen of Soul, but just what she meant just for people in general, especially our people. Just to say she's, an icon kind of just puts it mildly on what Aretha Franklin truly was and the kind of businesswoman she was and just all the other artists that came after her in the bar she set, whether it's Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, even if you were in her genre, not in her genre, whether it's Patti LaBelle, Gladys Knight, Shaka Khan, like everyone pretty much was behind, what Aretha Franklin was and all the music she's done and the legacy that she's leaving. So I know, it was a really good positive, I think, outpouring of love toward her. It's so sad because you're just thinking about her family and what's going to be happening, I guess, moving on from here with her, because I'm pretty sure that, pretty soon you're going to probably see a lot of repackaging of her music. You're going to probably have, a lot of people try and release songs that she's probably recorded. But just beyond that, just thinking about, where she started, all the work that she's done, it's a really sad thing to talk about. So, and I know she lived, overall a long life and what a lifetime she had for sure. But it's kind of interesting too, because I know Jim Carrey, did a painting portrait of her. I know the response that, President Trump had about her was kind of like, I guess for him, he was being nice. But like when I heard people kind of being surprised about what he said, I'm like, that wasn't really shocking, Even down to, the whole Fox News thing, showing Aretha with a Patti LaBelle photo that's not surprising either. And a lot of that was probably done intentionally. So that's not really shocking that they do that. I mean, a lot of these people know what they're doing. But I think overall, if you want to kind of keep it on a good note, I think the outpouring for Aretha was great. And I've been watching some interview clippings of her. And I know one thing on one of the shows I watched when they brought Aretha up is that she's one of the only handful of artists that right off the top of your head who she is the moment you hear her voice. And like between her, probably James Brown and Stevie Wonder, those are probably my three that when you hear their voices, you immediately know who they are. Those three definitely, stand out. And that's not to say that there aren't other artists, but when I saw this list that was talking about that, I'm like, that does kind of make sense because from an iconic standpoint, they all kind of make sense, especially for the time and eras that they're in. And then all three were distinct in their own way. So that was something that I really, enjoyed a lot. I know they've been showing Blues Brothers with her. And I know everybody always talks about that scene that she had with John Belushi. I gotta watch that movie again. It's been a long time since I've seen Blues Brothers, but just thinking about all the music she's made and just it's been used in so many films. It's like you'll probably be surprised on how many Aretha Franklin songs over the time of her career has been used for trailers of movies, for soundtracks. It's just she's leaving behind a great, incredible catalog of music, and then just also what she stood for. She did a lot for civil rights. And then she's also, just the way she's kind of advanced, the way a lot of Black women have been viewed from a business standpoint. It's been pretty much well known that Aretha was a very no-nonsense personality. She was about her business, and she was very straight up. So, yeah, again, it's very much a sad time to be discussing it. And I've been thinking about her a lot throughout this week. I've been listening to a lot of her songs. And so, those are just some of the things I wanted to kind of touch on with her. I'm going to transition from Aretha into Nicki Minaj. And I know for her, she's had a really interesting week because I know it's her album release. She's had a lot of exchanges on Twitter between, Safari and I think, this DJ Self and, just people in general. And when I was watching some of her interview circuits, I know she has an interview with Funk Flex that's like out right now. And it's like an hour and 20 minutes. And it's, I may watch that interview. I might not. It's like when you kind of know what someone's going to say and it kind of comes across as like a promo thing. It's like, whether people like Jay-Z or not, like when he does an interview and he's going to talk, you're like, wow, well, let me listen to what he's going to say. Because he's now put himself in that kind of space. But with Nicki Minaj, just some of the clippings you've been seeing of her and some of the exchanges she's been having with people, it's like you kind of forget, like with the success she's had, a lot of stuff she's doing, like she should really be kind of ahead of it at this point. Like I don't understand why she's feeling this way, and I remember interviews with her years ago when she was first starting out, and seeing what she's going through with this Cardi B situation is completely different from how when she first came out, the way she felt about the treatment she was getting and the support from Lil' Kim, and it's almost like a night and day difference. And usually really secure people are really happy to bring you in the fold and to help mentor you in any way possible. Not necessarily to be friends, but you can just extend an olive branch of support and ear to have while you're trying to navigate what field you're in. And I know Nicki felt like she didn't have that kind of support from Lil' Kim starting out. And I know it's been it stays with her with Cardi B. Because Cardi B is the hot thing right now. And she should be. And that's the thing too with fame and success. Like she's going on about 10 years now of being incredibly successful. And that's, impressive in itself that she's been able to do that. But some of the exchanges that she's had with, Safari and the stories, like I will say one thing I did notice on the Breakfast Club that has been kind of glossed over is like when you hear someone say like, hey, I got stabbed and I had to pretend like I tried to kill myself to protect you. Like, wait a minute, that's a serious thing. If the shoe were on the other foot, we'll probably be like, well, wait a minute, like we can't gloss over that. So wait a minute, there's an element of your past relationship where you've shown physical violence and that's not discussed or talked about. And I know Safari, context is everything. So a lot of people are looking at the prism of, well, he's on a reality show. We don't take him that seriously. And maybe he's just making that up. And if that's the case, I mean, you never know. But that's something that you should be asked about that. That should be a pressing question. Now, I think one of the accusations she leveled against him was, I guess, about paying for prostitutes, which I think that was mentioned as a reason as to why they had that physical confrontation, which honestly, that's a very serious thing, for anyone. If you're in a relationship with someone and they're stepping outside your relationship and, are they doing that? And they shouldn't be doing that if they're saying that they're in a relationship with you. And two, is it protected what they're doing? And you're putting her in grave danger by doing that. So that's a very upsetting and disturbing thing, especially for her as a woman that, her body is potentially on the line with the behavior of her partner. So that's a very serious thing. But that's not something that should be glossed over from a physical violence standpoint. But just all in all, if you just kind of keep it to her musically, I've heard some songs. Some of the songs have been pretty good overall. It's just, I think, the whole multiple character thing that Nicki Minaj was initially under, it's kind of at this point kind of died out a bit. But that happens a lot from a personality standpoint with artists, and that's when you kind of got to go through the whole reinventing yourself. Now I know I've seen some reviews on her where they said her album is more so reflective than past effort, so that's actually interesting to hear. Just overall, personally, I know she probably, feels like she's, attacked a lot, but for the level of fame that she has, that just kind of comes with the territory. And I know She pretty much kind of made that, claim when the Hot 97 exchange that I guess she had with Ebro and talking about Cardi B. And, when I remember I heard that clip played on a Breakfast Club and Charlamagne was saying it was lies because, it's been known or it's been reported multiple times that if you don't support Nicki's music or if you say that you weren't responding to it in a certain way, she will have either herself personally do it or more often than not, people from her camp question you and whether or not you're showing her the proper respect and love for the work that she's putting out. So when I heard that comment, I was thinking that was a little bit surprising because it's like, if you're not even known for taking criticism well, then it's kind of hard to then, suggest someone else handle it. So that's something that when I heard that, I was like a little bit surprised that she would go there. And I know a lot of people are talking about her album's not doing so well. And I guess, between physical sales and digital, it kind of is, to me, that's besides the point. It's more so what's the temperature and the climate of people that are surrounding her in terms of her musically. And is she's more so antics versus, the actual body of work that she's putting out. And she's put out, really good material over a number of years. So that's something that, you definitely can't dismiss with her at all. The run she's had at the level she's had is more successful than I think any female, especially any female MC in history. And her resume goes toe to toe with anybody in terms of over this type of a period, of it being incredibly successful. Drake is just on another planet of success right now. I mean, it's not even close. If you're talking about like his reach. But for Nicki and the work that she's done, she should feel incredibly proud of it. Overall, it would be kind of nice to see her kind of, not be involved in as many spats that she has with people. Just because it's not really worth it in the end. And you want to mostly be known for your work and not sideshow antics a lot. So those are some of the things I wanted to just talk about with Nicki. I'm pretty sure that it's going to be more things unfolding in the future with her musically that I know I'll definitely be keeping my eye out on. I want to thank everyone that continues to listen to this pod and support us. I want to thank D. Definitely support us. Like, share, follow, become a patron. Looking forward to doing more of these in the future. I know we got a couple more things that we're kind of kicking around idea-wise that we want to do. So definitely be on the look for that. Again, my name is Jonathan Steele. I'm your host of Could You Be More Specific? Continue to follow the Stay Woke podcast. I'm looking forward to doing more of these in the future. And you guys definitely stay safe.